From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
And thanks for joining us here. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. First at 7, the State Department of Health is reporting the biggest increase in COVID-19 deaths in months.
Today's data report shows an additional 30 deaths, the most since June 6th. Those deaths were added to the state's totals today, but they took place between September 25th and yesterday. 3,484 Hoosiers have died with COVID-19 since the pandemic began. Almost 127,000 have tested positive, with 990 new positive cases reported today. The state's 7-day positivity rate is rising. Tonight, it's at 4.9%.
President Trump is calling off negotiations for another round of pandemic relief until after the election. Meanwhile, the coronavirus continues to spread across the federal government, with top military officials self-quarantining. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze is in Washington with the latest.
The coronavirus spreading further across the government. The Vice Commandant of the Coast Guard, the latest to reveal he has tested positive. He was at the White House as recently as 10 days ago and is now in quarantine. Nearly all of the Joint Chiefs of Staff are also self-quarantining as a precaution. The news coming amid a COVID outbreak within the White House, starting all the way at the top with President Trump. At least 20 people who were near or around the president last week have now tested positive. And yet Trump is once again minimizing the threat of the virus to the public. The president falsely claiming COVID is no more deadly than the seasonal flu. That post getting flagged by Twitter as untrue and taken down by Facebook. Trump also tweeting he won't negotiate another coronavirus stimulus package until after the election, claiming the economy is doing very well. More than 210,000 Americans have died from COVID-19, and cases are now rising in 32 states, while nearly 11 million Americans remain out of work since February. But President Trump delivering this message in a promotional video.
Don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. We have the best medicines.
In reality, the president received medical care inaccessible to most Americans, and he was sick enough to be twice placed on supplemental oxygen, was provided experimental drugs that aren't FDA approved for COVID, and received a steroid usually reserved for severely or critically ill patients. Today, the White House physician, who initially falsely claimed Trump had not received supplemental oxygen, now says the president is reporting no symptoms and that his vitals are stable. The White House turning the dramatic moment when President Trump returned from Walter Reed Medical Center and ripped off his mask into a highly produced campaign video. But Joe Biden releasing this social media video in response, reiterating that message again today during a campaign event in Gettysburg.
Wearing a mask is not a political statement. It's a scientific recommendation.
President Trump, who's trailing Biden by 16 points in a new CNN SSRS poll, is eager to shift the conversation away from his health and back to the campaign. President Trump tweeting today he will attend next week's presidential debate in Miami. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
Thousands of Indiana voters have already cast their ballot across central Indiana. There were long lines for the first day of early voting. The line outside the city-county building stretched through downtown. Beginning October 24th, though, Marion County will open additional satellite early voting centers. Everyone is required to wear a mask, and don't forget your ID. Our crews also spotted long lines and eager voters in Boone County. Remember, you still have time to request an absentee ballot in the mail if one of Indiana's 11 reasons for voting absentee applies to you. The deadline to request a ballot is October 22nd. We have a complete guide to the November general election up on our website at WRTV.com. That includes all of the dates and rules that you need to know. That's at WRTV.com/vote in 2020.
The vice presidential debate is on for tomorrow night. Former Indiana Governor Mike Pence will face off against the Democratic nominee, Senator Kamala Harris. Our live coverage begins tomorrow at 8 p.m. with the 2020 special. That is followed by the live debate at 9 p.m. And don't forget to stay tuned for the news at 11 here on WRTV. Kevin.
And we flash back just a couple hours ago, Amanda, where temperatures hit 79 in Terre Haute, 76 for the high in Indianapolis. Will be warmer during the day tomorrow. Let's talk about what a beautiful evening it is across central Indiana. Hardly a cloud in the sky. Perfect timing. Of course, the sun setting during the 7 o'clock news. You can't beat that, especially with the view that we've had of the setting sun the last couple of days. Temperatures lower 70s now in the metro area. The warmth will be drawn in on a stronger southwest wind during the day tomorrow. Temperatures in the plains anywhere from Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska into the Dakotas, 80 degrees or warmer. Those warmer temperatures will visit central Indiana. We won't be quite that warm though. Still have about 15 to 20 degrees to drop tonight to land at our overnight lows. Tomorrow, sunshine once again, 11 a.m. 68 degrees. Afternoon temperatures push 80. The record for tomorrow, by the way, set in 2007 is 90, so we don't need to worry about setting a record high temperature. I'll talk about what you can see with the family. A free show tonight. It starts at 8:37, but I'll tell you in minutes.
The COVID-19 pandemic has led to almost 7 months of stress over keeping safe and financial concerns, which can also impact your mental health. The Rebound Indiana is sharing ideas to help you cope and make it to the other side. Good Morning Indiana's Lauren Casey traveled out to a flower farm, gaining popularity as an escape in the age of social distancing.
The first thing that I love is just seeing the smiles on people's faces.
I've been here 3 times this summer and we love it.
Are you having fun?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So I'm just picking a lot.
We are in the happy business, and when people come to the farm, there's nobody that's in a bad mood.
When Phil Van Blarcom left his corporate job and moved to this farm in the northeastern tip of Johnson County, he and his wife wanted to slow down, get away from the hustle and bustle of life. And in that search for solace, they sowed the seeds to what is now a blossoming business where others can take a breath.
Just became kind of my little getaway.
And escape.
And it's happiness, I feel like.
I know. Just as the winter season dulls the colors at P&D Flower Farm, this past winter brought a change for all of us as COVID-19 rooted itself right in the middle of our busy lives.
We didn't know what was going to happen in March. We were terrified. Being, a family-owned business, we didn't know what to expect.
Weddings and events at the farm postponed. The future, like the crop, always a little uncertain.
And come June, when the sun came out and the color came in the field, people just wanted to get outside and enjoy some open space and do something that's normal.
And as one side of their business felt the impacts of the coronavirus pandemic, the other side was blooming.
You don't have any walled-in spaces, and people can feel more comfortable, more spaced out if they want. Obviously, we have lots of land.
Jordan BREWER is the event coordinator at the Flower Farm, and while many of their planned events had to change, they have been able to use what Mother Nature has given them.
And so we've had to limit people RSVPing or buying tickets to whatever the event is.
With so many restrictions in place, their You Pick Flower Field has been more popular than ever before. Phil telling me the only weeds in that side of the business now is that their fields have been picked over from the increased popularity, and it's a good problem to have.
We want people to feel safe. We want people to have fun and do something that's halfway normal and get out of this craziness of the world right now.
Jordan says helping guests create bouquets has brought joy to her life during these trying times.
Help other people relax too. It is nice to put together a bouquet for ladies and they're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna look terrible. I put it together for them and they're like, oh my gosh, it looks great. We love it. So it's nice to see smiles on people's faces and just to bring them joy in kind of the dark times right now.
Just like humans, wildflowers aren't meant to be isolated or left standing on their own.
And we always say that when you put them together, they're going to be beautiful.
Looking forward to a time when we can all be brought together again.
And those flowers could brighten up anyone's day. That was Lauren Casey reporting. P&D Flower Farm is winding down their flower picking as the colder weather settles in, but they are working on activities to utilize the farm in the cold months like calligraphy classes and garland and wreath making lessons. For more info on this little daytime getaway in the country, visit our website, WRTV.com/rebound.
I think everyone could use a getaway. Still ahead tonight on the news at 7, why picking up a pen and paper might be better for your brain than using a keyboard.
But first, stores and food companies are working to make sure shelves stay stocked this winter so you can get everything you need for holiday cooking.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
Welcome back. You know, food flew off the shelves in March when the national emergency for COVID-19 was announced. Tonight, grocers and food manufacturers are showing Chloe Nordquist what they're doing to make sure that doesn't happen again this winter.
As U.S. coronavirus cases continue to rise, paired with flu season, holidays, and other factors, experts are once again concerned about what the impact on the supply chain might be. So grocery stores and food manufacturers are preparing for whatever may come this winter season, many resorting to stockpiling themselves to avoid running out.
On one side, they're building up inventory to make sure that they're ready for it. But on the other side, inventory is additional costs.
Jack Buffington is a supply chain expert.
Their concern is that the weeks of inventory that they had before the pandemic hit was not sufficient for them to run out of supplies, right? Particularly for big events, you know, like there's big concerns for big events like Thanksgiving, you know, to make sure that they have ample supply of everything that needs, because that's a big moneymaker for them.
For large chain grocery stores, stockpiling in large warehouses is a viable option.
Christmas has begun October 1st. The entire supply chain is moving things forward for one reason, due to the risk of supply and demand.
We all had to be on the ball a little bit earlier this year. I mean, obviously we start pretty early as it is, but I think because of all the COVID stuff, we've had to really be mindful of how much we're looking to shoot over.
Jack says he sees everyone getting concerned about not having enough supply or demand due to uncertainty.
COVID was a complete catalyst for what you're seeing as a redefinition of the supply chain and the economy. But I think everybody's getting really scared of not having enough supply and not having enough demand.
I'm Chloe Nordquist reporting.
Well, Space Station FLYOVER tonight. I'll have all the details so you can step outside with your family and watch.
iPhone owners, today is your last chance to submit a claim against Apple. A $500 million class action settlement came after Apple admitted it used software updates to intentionally slow down phones. Apple claimed it took the action to protect phones with older lithium-ion batteries. iPhone owners accused Apple of doing it to get them to buy newer and more expensive phones. Owners of certain iPhone 6 and 7 models and the SE can receive up to $25 in claims.
Writing by hand helps the brain remember and makes it easier to learn. That's according to researchers in Norway. They tested the brain activity of a dozen young adults and a dozen children while writing by hand and while using a keyboard. They found the brain was far more active during the writing exercise. Researchers say that activity is what helps people remember new information. They say the study shows the importance of making sure kids are not relying only on electronic devices. And with that, I hand it over to Kevin.
And how about that, Mark? Pencil and paper. That's what I do every day for the forecast. And I still may forget, though. That's why after I do it on pencil and paper, then I put it on the computer graphic.
You do both.
Beautiful. That's what it looks like out to the west. You can hardly see a cloud in the sky. This has been perfect timing for the sun to be setting during our evening conversation. Temperature down to 68 in Bloomington. Temperatures tonight down into the 50s. Okay, this is what you can do with the family tonight and tomorrow night. I'll give you tomorrow night's details tomorrow evening. Let's focus on tonight. 8:37. If you go out, look to the northwest, about 30 degrees above the horizon, so about 3/5 above the horizon, you'll see a steady white light appear. It will climb to 50 degrees above the horizon before disappearing in the southeast. It lasts for about 3 minutes. It's a relatively short pass, but should be able to see it. Tomorrow, we'll make a run at 80 degrees. Temperatures for the remainder of the 7-day forecast will be above average. Temperatures will stay in the upper 70s again on Friday. I want to point this out. Our next best chance for rain, it's not an overwhelming chance, but remnants from Hurricane Delta may move along the Gulf Coast first thing over the weekend and then turn northeast. It does put the southern half of Indiana in play. This is a forecast model showing the rain potential for southern Indiana. The best chance for the soaking rains looks to be over Kentucky and areas south. We'll take any moisture that we can get, as you know. Temperatures in the morning, mid-50s to 72 by noon. There's the wind out of the southwest, just as strong as today. We had a 30-mile-per-hour gust. We'll be in that ballpark during the day tomorrow as winds stay strong. 7-day forecast over the next 7 days. Temperatures remain above average, as we mentioned. The chance for showers will come as we get to Sunday. We'll hold on to a chance of rain on Monday and Tuesday as well. Temperatures for overnight lows back into the 50s. No frost in this forecast. It's all about kind of early fall warmth. Amanda?
Thank you, Kevin. I'll take it. As we get closer to the November 3rd general election here at WRTV, we are highlighting some key races that may appear on your ballot. Indiana's 5th congressional district is open now that Representative Susan Brooks is retiring. That includes parts of Marion County, Hamilton County, parts of Boone County, Madison County, Tipton County, Grant County, and Blackford County. Tonight, our Nicole Griffin sits down with a Republican candidate, Victoria Spartz.
After growing up in Ukraine, Victoria Spartz met her husband while in college on a train in Europe. He is from Noblesville, which is what brought Spartz to Indiana.
I was young and adventurous, and with one suitcase, I came to this country for American dream, life, and build my future.
Spartz, who is now a mother of 2, began her career as a bank teller. Eventually, she became a CPA, a business owner, and now a state senator.
I work on a lot of education reforms, healthcare, and government efficiency. As a CPA, I can bring a lot of good perspectives from business world.
Now, during her campaign for Indiana's 5th congressional district, the biggest issue she is focusing on is health care.
So we need to start looking how we can eliminate these barriers, provide more choice, and stop government and big monopolies controlling prices. We need to have more transparency in the system, and it can be done at the federal level because it's controls right now, most of insurance.
As a businesswoman, she says the pandemic has affected small businesses more than larger companies. If elected, she wants to focus on reviving small businesses across the state.
And it's going to be by lower taxes, less regulation, and better financial framework for them to grow businesses. So we have to look back and say, okay, what did we do well? How we can do better? Can we have a much faster engagement with private enterprise to deliver good vaccine, to deliver good testing that is rapid and done in a good manner faster?
When it comes to improving equality, Spartz plans to focus on helping our youth. She does not support pushing kids into the juvenile justice system.
Give them second chance and help them to advance them with better tools and equip them for better future, and have a welfare system that moves you up from welfare, not just keeps you and suppresses you at the levels that you always stay poor.
She says her focus, if she is elected, is on getting results for the people.
I'm not looking for a job. I want to do a job for the people, and I want to do it well.
Working for you, Nicole Griffin, WRTV.
Again, Indiana's 5th congressional district covers parts of Marion, Hamilton, Tipton, Madison, Grant, and Blackford counties. Also on the ballot for Indiana's 5th congressional district is Democratic nominee Christina Hale. You can find her profile right now at WRTV.com. And Libertarian nominee Ken Tucker. We will introduce you to him tomorrow on the news at 6. We'll be right back.
Finally tonight, some research that might be surprising to dog owners. As much as your pet loves you, they probably aren't paying attention to your face. Researchers in Hungary and Mexico did brain scans of dogs while they were shown images of faces and the backs of people's heads. It turns out dogs couldn't distinguish between the two. The only thing their brains were hardwired to is to figure out if they're looking at a human or another dog. Instead of using faces, dogs recognize they're humans through other signals like smell.
I think our pups recognize us.
Mine looks me right in the eye. Yeah. He knows where my eyes are.
What do you think, Kev?
I agree. I refuse to believe the research as well. Rory Gregory knows me when she sees me or smells me. Temperature tomorrow close to 80 for the afternoon high. That breeze out of the southwest. So if your dog is downwind from you, who knows whether they'll recognize you.
Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news. Our next newscast is tonight at 11. We'll see you then.